How you doing?
Hey,
Welcome
what's
to the
up?
show. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for sticking around after my error in using Zoom links.
It's all good, man.
It happens. We were in the waiting room going, all right.
We were listening to Royal Otis. It's all good. We were
Yeah.
jamming out.
Oh, nice. Which song?
Well, first the cover of Murder on the Dance Floor because it's
Okay.
iconic,
Yeah.
which got me into them. Addison's wearing these leather pants, and it just sounds like he ripped one. That was amazing. Um, Murder on the Dance Floor, and then Oysters in My Pocket. But I have a fixation on them right now. So
Have you heard the cover they did? Was it of what song was it?
Linger, right?
Linger,
The
yes.
Cranberries. So
Yeah, so
good.
good.
So good.
Yeah, it's so good.
And I love how the guitar player doesn't show his face ever.
He's like the Sia of indie music.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in steady rotation on the radio station I work for, Fuzz 96.1.
Oh,
Oh,
sick.
I didn't
Yeah.
know you did that. That's
That's
really
awesome.
cool.
That's how this whole thing started. Um, I worked in radio and sales. I weaseled my way onto the airwaves, and
Yeah.
then I was doing that for 3 or 4 years, and then they flipped the format, and then I started a podcast, and then I went back to the radio station because they wanted me to come back and do my show again.
Oh,
And
cool.
now
So
you
yeah,
do both.
so I do both. Yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome.
I combine the two, so it's like the podcast is an opportunity to kind of really dig deeper, and then the radio
Yeah.
show is primarily it's just focused on like local and regional musicians. Um, it's kind of like my passion. I kind of grew up and from day one of my job, it was just kind of local support for businesses and artists and bands and all that kind of stuff. So
I love that,
Well,
man.
thanks for
yeah,
Yeah.
supporting us because it's important. I feel like especially now more than ever to spread, the goodness of music and what it can do. So
it just, I mean, I love talking about it because I just said to a couple guys yesterday that like certain people are put on this world to do certain things, and like musicians and artists and creators, like where would we be without them?
yeah.
Yeah, the artists, I feel like, bring the color into the world.
Yeah, music is medicine. Actually, I found out recently in this book I was reading that the Chinese symbol for music and medicine almost looks exactly the same.
Wow.
Like in Mandarin. Like I
Hmm.
think it's like one thing off that it is, which is really crazy and telling that, for dynasties and centuries we've been using it as medicine. And I think it's like when we couldn't play live for like a year, I couldn't even watch live music on YouTube. He would pull it up and I'm like, I can't even see it. It was so intense for me that it wasn't happening anywhere.
But now we're
Yeah,
back,
We're
baby.
back. We're in
back.
it.
And talk about coming back. I mean, you guys just released a few new songs, but Rose-Colored World, name of the band, Addison and Rae. Thanks again for doing this. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
thank
mean, I
you.
haven't stopped listening to those three songs all day. I mean,
Oh, wow.
they're
Yeah.
so good. I do have to pick up my notes here because I didn't remember the exact names of them, but you guys tell me.
It was probably the three new ones I would
Yeah,
guess.
it was those three.
Yeah. Cold Day in Hell.
All we had and hanging on by a thread.
Yeah, all we had. That song is awesome. And there's a specific
Thank you.
part, the 2 minute and 55 second mark. I believe Addison, where you, I don't even know how it like the effect or whatever, just the way you say the words. It was like that's like
When the finger
Is it the bridge?
trigger.
Probably.
you just say the words are. I think it was just all we had, and
Oh,
then
is it the like empty part?
Yeah.
yes,
All
yes,
we have.
Is
yeah,
lost. Yeah.
yeah. That's like the best. Like, that's the best part of the song. Like that hit. I'm like,
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yeah, we
Sam.
love that song. I was most excited about that song on out of the new ones so far
yeah.
to come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were all released this year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we released Cold Day in Hell right before we hit the road this summer with the Dangerous Summer. And then one right when we were like on the road, hanging on, and then all we had when we got back.
Yeah.
And what was really cool with All We Had was, you know, we know it hits people in their feels. And so for the music video, we decided to do a tour montage of like all of our favorite, you know, behind the scenes moments that maybe you don't see us in typical music videos, you know, where it's got like a narrative. It's just like you break the fourth wall and just kind of us being silly geese on the bus and, you know, traveling around and rocking. And it was really it was cool to have that pairing
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. I mean, the songs are great. Talk a little bit about that. You know, the Dangerous Summer, a favorite band of mine as well. Um, what was that like?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're amazing. We learned so much about touring in general and just writing. You know, you see what we didn't like think about before we left is how much we would grow and learn and want to write differently. You know, just seeing these amazing bands every night. We went out with them and this band Bad Luck from Brooklyn, who's another incredible band. But it's funny, we met AJ at a party a couple years ago, and then we went to his Troubadour show when they were in town with Emerosa last year. And he made a deal with Ray saying, listen, I'll take you out on tour, but when you guys blow up in a couple of years, you got to take us out. And we made the deal and he held up his end of the bargain.
And now it's our turn as
yeah.
we ascend
And
this
he
thing.
told the story every night on stage when they played. It was really beautiful.
I mean, watching the four of them, specifically AJ, just step into his purpose and watch what he was doing to the crowds every night was so inspiring and so motivating that it was like I came home from tour and I don't play bass and I wrote a song on the bass because
Wow.
he plays and he plays bass and sings, and I was like, I want to be, you know, like that's how much it kind of took over. But those guys are veterans on the road, and you know, we're fresher to the road, so just asking them questions and watching how they move through their day to day was really, really cool.
Yeah, we just tried to learn as much as possible and, you know, play great shows. And that's
Yeah.
it.
That's awesome. And how long have you guys been doing this for? Because like the music that has been released sounds like you guys have like been doing this for a while. It's just so good.
So,
I
oh,
hope
thank
Damn,
I
I
hope
really appreciate
everyone that
that.
watches this or listens to this like goes and streams that stuff because it's awesome.
Thank you.
The project we've been playing together probably for around 4 years in the band, but we started writing together like 7 years ago, coming
Yeah,
up on 7, right?
yeah. Actually, I met Addison 7 years ago in like a week,
Oh, wow.
which is really cool. It's coming. Our meet-iversary is coming up. I had just moved to LA from Florida, and 6 weeks after I moved here, we met and
And
started.
we were both solo artists when we met, so we were writing for each other's projects, and then we just made the decision to come together, and it like became the focus. We literally stopped doing our solo stuff, and but it was during COVID, to be honest, when we really found our sound, and we were like, okay, now we just need to do this, and yeah, we just kept working and working and having fun.
Now, I mean, I hate talking about COVID because it was such a terrible time. I mean, and
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
still feeling the effects of it. But like, you know, as a musician, right? Like you guys are, you know, performers, and that's probably a huge part of being a musician is performing and having that taken away from you was probably devastating, right? I mean, you said before, like, you know, you couldn't even watch live music because it was just like heartbreaking. But what I've noticed or what I've been told is artists were able to really kind of like work on stuff for
Mhm.
the first time instead of like the always hustling and tour and all this kind of stuff. They were just able to kind of focus on something, you know, specific. Is that the same for you?
Yeah, I feel like we had a moment to regroup and kind of pause and say, what are we doing? Why are we doing it? What do we want to do? And without that time, which is crazy to think, I really don't think we'd be sitting here and doing what we're doing right now in the way that we are.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I agree with that. You know, I think history repeats itself, and if we even look at like 1919, which was like Spanish flu vibes, you know, then you had the Roaring 20s come after, like this renaissance of art and music and culture and newness. And I think like we saw that with COVID, where it finally gave people almost time to be like, who am I without what I'm doing? You know, like when the
Yeah.
noise stops and you're sitting in silence, you know, that's really when the truth is screamed. And I believe that's why there's so much power in like meditation and music, because you're just alone with your thoughts to actually listen to what someone's saying to you. And yeah, I think for us, we really kind of figured it out. We were, you know, everything was locked down, especially in LA where we live. And we would just drive around to random neighborhoods, and Ad would go, I'm going to show you a band, you know, that I grew up listening to. And it would be usually kind of like an obscure, you know, rock band, like not necessarily like Fall Out Boy or like, you know, and I'd be like, I know this and I know this song by them. And we started realizing we kind of knew and had a similar taste that we never realized. We're like, why don't we just make what we both kind of secretly love here? And
Well, because I was in LA a bit longer than her, and when I moved here in 2014, guitars weren't, nobody wanted them. I was writing like for other artists and all that stuff, and I got so burnt out that when we started writing just rock music, so easy because that's, you know, what I've done my whole life. And I was like, wow, this feels so much better to just, you know, write what naturally comes out. But I think I like, you know, shied away from it because I didn't think that it could be successful and all this other stuff a while ago. And I love that, you know, we're moving now and we're making the most honest music that we could be making. So it's feels way better when people start to react to it.
It's natural, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I remember I said to you after a few months of not being able to play, and I was like, I give you full permission to write whatever you wanted to write in your parents' basement. Like write it right now. Like what,
like, are you sure?
Like tap into that, like, you know, when you were young, like what did you need to hear? And then all of a sudden the riff for Torn in Two came, the riff for like some of our earlier songs. And then I would sit on this couch and basically sob from, you know, hearing like what it would do to me, and then just got really honest lyrically, and it just kind of, yeah.
Yeah, and this is
just,
still where we make all our records right here.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. We do everything right here, tracking and editing our music videos.
Drums, but
yeah, everything.
That's cool. Now, it says that the band sounds like Pierce the Veil and Paramore, but still small enough to answer your comments. Now, I hate doing this, and I'm going to do it anyways.
That's all right.
Do you want to? There's some bands that I hear in some of the music, and I hate doing this because, and I don't think I'm going to strike out here, but I hate doing this because what if I say like, oh, it sounds like this, and you're like, oh my God, I hate that band.
Yeah. No, it's all good.
But I'm going to do it because it's fun.
Okay. Yeah.
It's fun. All right. So I hear in some of these songs some My Chemical Romance.
Nice.
Yeah.
Story of the Year.
Nice.
All American Rejects.
Yes.
And Reliant K.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yes.
That's a first, Reliant K, but love Reliant K.
Love them. Steve Hawkins dance. Oh my God. That was my shit.
I didn't even know that song.
That's crazy.
I knew them by Be My Escape.
No, I mean, that's great too. I just love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like you're
pretty dead on of a lot of our influences or things we grew up listening to, like, you know, for sure.
When we were on tour, we became friends with this dude named Niles who was doing content for Dangerous Summer. And he was saying that we sound like if Green Day and Paramore had a love child, which like I could also hear a little of that in as well.
Okay.
Yeah, that was just like his elevator pitch to people that were coming over to merch early before we were on, of like, you should watch them. They sound like this. But we love all of those bands. Yeah. So you did good on that.
I should have because like each song I feel like, okay, that's got some of this band in it, and that song has some of this band in it. But I don't want to go that far down. So
yeah. You're good.
I'll leave a blanket
awesome,
statement.
though.
Yeah, I mean it's just, I mean that's the music I love. So it's like all day long. I'm in sales too, so like I'm just in the car driving, and those songs all day long. It's awesome.
Story of the Year's new album is amazing. I don't know if you've heard it yet.
It is good, yeah. I even like that kind of I forget what song it was. Maybe it was like back in 2005 is it called, or something
Oh
like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they kind of
Oh
referenced
yeah.
the one
Yeah.
lyric from like
It
Page
was like
Avenue.
walking the line, for
Yeah.
me of like, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like when you like reference, but it was still a great song. I think my favorite song was the what's the Sorry song?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember it right
And
now.
Tear Me to Pieces.
Tear
the
Me to
single
Pieces
goes
is
hard.
insane.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I would love
They
to
actually-
tour with that.
They were actually in my area back, man, it must have been 2010 maybe,
Oh wow.
at a club called Eleanor Rigby's. I got to meet Dan. It was awesome.
Sick.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
they're
don't
a
have,
great live band too.
yeah, they're nuts. It was so awesome. Their
Back in
album,
the day, they were crazy. They used to do like baseball slides under each other.
yeah, yeah. Their album that was released like what, maybe 3 or 4 years ago was pretty good too.
I don't know if I
Okay.
heard that one.
Yeah, we'll have to
Yeah.
do a deep dive.
Yeah, the one before the most recent one. It's pretty good.
Yeah, not that I fell up, but I don't think I heard. I think I heard the one after the big one, and then I don't think I heard any of them. And then they just pop up back up, and I was like, "Oh wow,
Yeah.
this record's great."
Yeah.
Sonically, it just sounds amazing. Like the mix, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
The new music is produced by Tom Denny. Was it Denny?
So we produce all of the music here, and
Okay.
then we send it to Tom for additional production and mixing.
And he's worked with like Day to Remember, Dayseeker, also
So he was
Pierce the Veil.
actually, yeah, so he was actually a original member of A Day to
Oh, okay.
Remember.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
he
Yeah.
founded it with the original guys. And I'm from Florida originally, so they were hometown heroes out of there. In high school, that was my first like hardcore show.
Yeah.
When I was younger, and so it's very insane to me that he even wants to work on our stuff. Let alone enjoys it and has been an amazing collaborator.
Yeah, like working with him has been, it's so crazy because we've never met in real life yet. And
We've done
he
6
just
songs.
yeah, and he like when we send it to him, like if we sent you the demo or our rough mix of All We Had, right? Still very much the same song. But like what he does to it to elevate it and just like it like is insane when
Yeah.
it comes back. And just communicating with him, everything. He's like the kindest dude. So we can't wait to meet him because we're doing the full length with him as well. And then we're gonna do live drums. We're gonna go to his place, so we'll meet in real life.
So there's a full length planned.
There is.
There is a full length plan.
Very good. That's
So
awesome.
we are currently writing our first album that
Okay.
we've ever
Ever
done.
put out, yeah.
Like any time in your life, just this is like the
Yeah,
first.
we've never done an album separate or together.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we're really stoked.
And what's that like for you guys? Are
I'll
you
let
nervous? Are you
answer.
excited?
I'll let
Or-
you answer and then I'll tell you how I feel.
I feel like we're in a really good place of songs and writing, and I think touring really helped that. Because what feels really good, you're playing every night and then you come home and you're like, it's just in you more. So it's like what feels good on stage. But I don't really have any nerves as far as like I hope people like it, because I try to stay in the mindset of like I always say the best best part of being in a band or a project is before you release anything, right? Because you could do whatever you want and there's no expectations, nobody even knows you. And sometimes you can then, if one song has success, it's like you have to try really hard to not let that come in where you're like, I need to beat this song, I need to do this. So I'm just trying to write the best songs with Ray and get as many as we can written and produced out, and then pick the 11.
Yeah. I agree with that.
You agree?
I agree.
Okay.
I feel like I've never been more inspired in my entire life than I am right now. I feel almost like my 12-year-old self again, that like is finding bands and stuff like that and nerding out. And a lot of it is like friends or friends of friends that I'm like, this song is so crazy. Like I want to do something that sounds like this plus something I heard 10 years ago. And being on the road, like Ad said, like, and what I said earlier, the most inspiring thing. And you don't even realize how much you're soaking in until you come home and you realize like, oh shit, like I picked this up from this person, and I saw Joe on stage do this,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
that's really cool. And
I think we're in a good place. We have about 9 or 10 songs written. We just got back the first mix from Tom.
sounds so good.
It sounds awesome. And then when does this come out? In like a while, this interview?
The week after next, so a couple weeks.
Okay.
Oh,
So yeah, tomorrow we're announcing a fall tour. We're going out for 3 weeks with a band called Not My Weekend. So that'll be nice to step out, get back on stage, and then come back and
finish it.
finish it up.
What I find so amazing is like these producers, like what they like. I'm sure the product you give them is great, right? And then the things that they can do in small things. It's like simple, small things that they can just elevate that song to like a new level.
So crazy because like the parts, you have to understand, like when I send him, so typically in my experience with mix engineers, which my mind does not work that way. I am like a creative producer, but typically you send them your stems, your audio files, to where when they press play, it starts from where yours is, right? And then they bring it the final 10, 20%. But the way Tom works is I send him everything dry. I'm talking guitars.
Like
There's no
effects,
amps on it.
nothing.
There's no, like our vocals are not like dry as a bone. So for him, like he gets it back to the magic we already had, and then
way further,
passes it, and it's just
with
incredible.
with the same dry stems that we recorded in this room. So we're just like,
sometimes he'll add some guitars, right? Like, because he is the scene and it's amazing. Sometimes we'll leave a bridge totally empty and we'll be like, hey, Tom, just do your thing.
And then we'll go back and write over it.
Hanging On by a Thread was like that. We left the bridge empty and then he wrote that whole breakdown part.
And I was like, oh.
And then we wrote all the,
yeah.
Lyrics and melodies over it. But it was like perfect.
That's so cool. I've never written a song before. That's not where I excel by any means.
Do you play at all or
nothing? Nothing, dude. Like I always like bust my mom's balls. I say she always wanted me to play banjo when I was little. Yeah, my mom has balls. I bust her ass. I pick on her.
There you go.
I'm like, Mom, like I didn't want to play banjo. Like I'm like that doesn't sound fun at all. Like I'm not like it sounds like I should be out on a porch with a piece of wheat in my mouth, right? Like I want to play baseball, I want to play basketball, and I guess she didn't have the heart to tell me like, hey, like look at how tall I am, look how tall your dad is. You're not gonna play in the NBA. Your frame's not built to be an athlete, past high school. Play the guitar. This could be forever. Or maybe if she said guitar, maybe that would have been more appealing to me. But
right.
But I'm like, you made me go to bed when I want to go to bed. You made me go to take a bath when I want to take a bath. You couldn't make me play an instrument.
Right.
So yeah, so I mean, I've loved music for as long as I could remember. I mean, my parents always playing it in the house, and I just, nothing is better than hearing a song and getting the goosebumps, and that's like such a cool thing. And I've just been around musicians my entire life. Like I've lived with them, but I've never picked up an instrument. I just,
wow.
I say it's too late now, and everyone's like, no, it's never too late. I'm like, listen, it's too late. I've got 2 kids. I'm married. I coach my son's baseball.
It's not too late to
Nah,
learn.
don't tell me that. Don't even say it. I just recently went back to the gym for the first time in like 11
hell
years.
Yeah, let's go.
But I mean,
Gym's
that
good.
like I'm waking up before my family wakes up, working out, and then coming home before they even wake up. Like that's my days are like shot. They're
yeah. Sorry, we're just adjusting lighting here for a minute to get a little more light in space. I think good. I won't know till you're here with me. There we go.
Yeah.
We can see a little better now.
Awesome.
It's getting dark.
Well, it's been dark here for a long time.
Yeah,
I don't
I
even
went
get
to
sunny LA.
640.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started on drums and Ray started on piano.
Yeah, well, I started singing
Yeah, that's
first.
true.
I've been singing literally since I'm talking. Like, just even my mom said, around the house, I'm singing all the time. And then I taught myself keys when I was like 12. And then I started gigging at a cafe, singing and playing keys when I was like 15 by my house. And that's kind of how I got started.
But then she, all through college, that's how she made her money. She was gigging 3 to 4 times a week.
Yeah, I was gigging like a motherfucker in college, man. I was gigging, lugging my keys that's, set up on the other side of me everywhere with, my platform shoes, and just walking in with my stompers, playing anywhere that I could. But it was great because I got my chops up.
Yeah.
And my dad has a saying, because my dad plays drums, and he has a saying that you can't replace stage time ever. There's practice time, and then there's time that you're actually in front of people on the stage, and it's a completely different experience, that feedback loop,
Yeah.
with people, actual, and feeling what that feels
So
like, and
true.
picking up on the energy of the space. And I'm very grateful that from like 15 to 22, I had 7 years of playing like chronically in front of people, so now with the band, and I'm not playing keys on stage, I'm just running around. I'm like, this is amazing. I'm not.
And
Stop behind
part of
there.
our origin story, which I think is fascinating, is coming out of COVID, after not playing any shows for a year and a half, we got booked to have a residency at Fright Fest at Six Flags. And we did 100 sets as a band in a month and a half. And then that year we played anywhere and everywhere in LA, that like someone would call us on a Monday, be like, hey, do you want to play this party tomorrow?
We're like,
And
yep,
we're like, yeah, hey, you want
say
to play this
less.
tattoo shop on Thursday? Yeah, let's go. You want to play the Rainbow on Sunset? And we were
Yep.
just playing and playing and playing and
Viper,
playing.
sure. Like,
And
Yeah.
it's just really awesome to, now this is our first year touring. Like, we have an agent now, and to go on like legit tours that we didn't book ourselves like we used to, it just feeling all the gratitude every day that, we're here right now. So I'm super excited.
Well, it's so cool you did that, because I don't know that a lot of younger people want to put in that time and that effort. But you have to. And you said, like, that stage time, and that's why I think open mics in different cities are so important, because like you have to get out there and do that. And it's even like a
Yeah.
comedian, you have to like get out there, work on the timing, and see what the audience reacts to, and how you can just be better.
Yeah, because it's so much more than even just singing or playing the song,
100%.
For us, it's about the whole show. And we were lucky enough that last year when we were negotiating our record deal, our owner of the label is Dave Shapiro, who's also owns Sound Talent Group. So they're our booking agency as well. And when we were negotiating, we played one show last year, which was crazy. But we were going to all these shows, right? So we were like side stage for Pierce the Veil with 14,000 people, or backstage when we were young, and just like seeing them and the show, and like that all helped shape, okay, this is the highest level, right, of this. So it was really helpful to see that, and to kind of figure out what kind of show we wanted. Like when we press play, when we start our show,
that's
it
it.
runs. And
Yeah.
I think it's important,
Yeah,
personally,
of
instead of
course.
like oh, thank you, the next song is called, and
Right.
that comes from just doing it and
Yeah.
just seeing,
Yeah.
being a student always, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about that record deal. First band to
Yeah,
sign a record deal in the sky. Is that what I hear?
I can't find someone else that did it, so we're gonna go with that.
Hey, I
Yeah,
mean,
so
yeah.
Dave Shapiro, who owns, like I was saying, owns the label, owns the booking agency. He's a ledge. He's awesome. He is also a pilot. And so he was flying the plane
Mhm.
while we were signing it in the air, doing like a fist bump. It was just very
I
surreal.
hate flying, and this was my idea.
This was Addison's idea on
'Cause
the
I-
first label meeting ever, like before we even were official, and was like, hey, I had this idea.
And Dave was like, yeah. And then it took like, probably 7 months until we were gonna sign and to set it up. And then we were there, and I'm in this small plane, and I'm just like,
even before, like the night before, he started having sweats, like he was not good. We should actually cut together a BTS video of just Addison-isms,
yeah, because
like
I
all the
look way
things.
cooler than what was really going on. There's this one picture that it's me and Ray are sitting on the 2 seats, and Ray is like,
I'm literally like a
and I'm
kid,
just right next to her. I'm like this,
like so
like
panicked.
just so scared.
That's awesome. What
But
was
yeah,
signing that?
What'd you
Go
say?
ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh no, the label has been incredible. Just, they were like, we love what you guys have built. We love what you're doing, because we're really hands-on. We do our videos, we edit all our content and all this,
Oh, wow.
produce the music.
Yeah, we literally do everything.
Yeah, like the music, most of the music videos are directed and edited by us, with the exception of a few. But they just wanted to partner, right, and support what we're doing. And it's been really awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna ask like what that meant to you guys, and like what it like, how do they help support you? I mean, like that's crazy that you guys do all that, and that's kind of common now these days, right? A lot of bands do everything, their own social media, their own video editing, their own everything. But what did it mean to you guys to sign those documents, and how does that help you moving forward?
So for me, I feel like everything is about collaboration. Great songs, great art, great partnerships in all facets. And I feel like, it's leveraging different relationships that we all have collectively to move the meter forward, get the music heard by as many people as possible, and continue to build a community of people who want to mosh, want to cry, want to scream, want to shout, whatever they need to do to feel better on the spinning rock that we're all on, And I think that we all have the same vision and different strengths, and already, right, it's like we start getting momentum on something, say on social media that we made, right, and then somebody, say Nick from the label, can take that and run with it, and now all we had is spinning on Faction Punk on Sirius XM like this whole past week, like a bunch, because now there's momentum, and that was something that he pulled in, and then it's just kind of starts to compound of we all have the same common goal, which is to get the music heard and to get it seen and to get it felt and to build a community. And I think
they're just such, like, we met with other labels before, and other labels are great too, but it just felt like they were so down to earth and just like normal people. And that's important to us because our camp works really close together. Ray and I, and really the third member of our band, which is our manager, Dan, who found us a few years ago. He's just been, we're really close, tight knit, and we're very communicative. And to have that in a label where they, haven't signed a new band in a long time. Dave relaunched the label during COVID when touring stopped. And we're happy to be the face of Velocity, and a win for us is a win for them, and vice versa. And yeah, I think it's, at the end of the day, it's like when you're a kid, you're like, I want to sign a record deal, right? But as we get older, there's that part of it because that's freaking awesome, right? But the other side of it is we're really becoming partners, right, with somebody, business partners in a brand and a company, and you have to make sure that it's cool, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's so important.
It's not.
Yeah. I mean, you hear horror stories, right? And it's like things like these days too, like compared to what they were like 30 years ago. You hear horror stories about, people getting ripped off and, locked into these long-term deals and getting screwed, and there's no money and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I just don't know, right? Every situation is so different. And what I will say is I think there is a lot of artists that when they get signed, they might feel like they take their foot off the gas, right? Because now they have like a label or a team of people. And at least for us, we're like, okay, now that we signed, we go harder, right?
Just
We
get
push that
started. Yeah.
back. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. And they match us, right? They hopefully in a good symbiotic relationship. It's like
Yeah.
we come here, they come here. They're a little higher. We reach that, right? That's how we keep growing. I think the major labels is a bit different and way scarier because
Yeah.
you really are just a number to them, you know.
Sure.
And
But I mean, it's also just different in general too. I think. I mean, it's you can't hide anymore these days. Everything's very public, and it's just it's hard to be like sneaky like they once were, if they were. I mean, I don't know.
Mhm.
It's just stories are told, right? But
yeah, I mean,
Listen, man, I'm a woman in rock music. I have seen so much shit that one day when the memoir comes out, people won't believe the shit, right? But at the end of the day, you know, it all comes down to how much do you want to make art? How much do you want to make the songs? How much do you want to play? Because you could find a reason why you don't or you can't, or you could use all your dollars to take a mega bus from across the country and move here, you
Right.
know, or whatever it is for you to chase whatever thing makes you fucking stoked.
we may not have met you, you know, without having a label because the label hired PR, right, for us to
Yeah.
connect the dots. And there's so many good things. And for us at this moment, things are good and they're super rad. So
yeah, I mean, the last few weeks, like something I definitely wanted to tell you about is like, you know, we've had like really massive momentum on TikTok, which is
Yeah.
really weird because when TikTok first came out, I was like, another fucking app that I have to post shit on
So
that
annoying.
people want to scroll
well,
through.
I was finally smart enough when TikTok came out. We got
Rose-colored world. And you know, because we are in like this insanely awesome situation where they want us to be us and we get to put out all this music. It's like, I'm like, wait a second, I'm living my little kid dream. It just TikTok wasn't around yet. We're all carrying around these little black mirrors. Let's just fucking go ape and just post as much as we want and you know, not have analysis paralysis, which is just like, oh, I analyze this so much, I'm not going to post at all.
Mhm.
And the second we started really just
yeah,
getting
we made
it
that
out,
switch like 3 weeks ago and got
like 30,000.
followers on there. Our monthly listeners like tripled.
Yeah, it's all crazy.
And you know, we have a whole Discord community now with over 200 members, and to see them all starting to interact with each other and talk about what shows they're going to,
A
it's
fan drew
really
us,
cool.
drew us in the Discord a couple days ago.
That's
And it
cool.
was so cute, like based on a little piece of content we made. And I was geeking out.
It's so hard to keep up. Like, and you guys are, I think, finding a groove, right? And another app, right? Like I said, and like Threads just came out, what, 6 months ago, whatever it was.
Yeah,
It just, it's not going anywhere, I don't think, but
but yeah, there's
it's a lot.
so much.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's kind of just weighing out and seeing and like
Finding your flow.
an epiphany I had recently, a few weeks ago. My best friend was over and we were watching music videos, new and old, like, you know, just hanging out. And a Måneskin music video came on the screen. It was, I think, for The Loneliest or I don't remember the exact song, but the budget was insane. And the music video was massive. And I was so blown away by this music video. And right when it was done, I said, Måneskin broke through on TikTok.
Mhm.
They did the Beggin cover and they blew up.
Well, it's
And
crazy because there's so much discovery on that app, right? So it's like we call it digital touring. So if we're not out on the road touring, we're gonna digital tour, right? So we'll flood it, make as much content in an artistic way that matches us that we can. Then we go live and we hang out with people. But if this is our job, right, our full-time job, then that's how we treat it. And I think that's how you kind of have to, because if not, it's easy for you to go, oh, this is so much. And it's like, okay, well, do you want to be in a cubicle for 8 hours, 10 hours a day, which I've done before in my life, making 300 phone calls a day, right? Or making art, yes, and of course we all get tired, right? You can get burnt out.
And also it's like to each his own, like if that's what you want to do, if that's what works for you, whatever.
It's
But
fine.
no, I'm saying we chose, to be creative people, and it doesn't just happen,
Right.
It's a lot of choices. It's a lot of daily choices of like creating a ton and being mindful and being grateful. And yes, sometimes you have lightning in a bottle and something pops off, but I think anything that has longevity and withstands the test of time is showing up and rocking out and enjoying it.
One of Dave's bands is Pierce the Veil, and when we were backstage at that show, he was saying he's been booking that band for like 15 years from small clubs, and then we're at their sold out show at the Irvine Amphitheater,
and then they just played Lollapalooza for like it's 60,000 people.
But that's what it takes. You just keep going, and it's not about like, I used to come from the headspace of like, oh, I'll be happy when I get this, right, or when I have this house, or when I have this, and then together it was like, wait, no, this is just who I am, right? We make music, that's what we enjoy doing. And yeah, of course we have goals, right? But it's like, just live in the moment and just make music. Like it hurts me when I was at a party last week and someone was like, yeah, so I'm giving it, one more year to before. And I'm like, dude, if you're going to do that, you may as well just stop, because like, that's not what being to me, an artist is. It's like, you can't put a time limit on creating art. Like, just be. And
right.
Yeah, you got to make money, figure that out too, right? But like, if you want to make art,
you'll make art.
Yeah, and you say that. I have a lot of, like I told you, I was around musicians for a long time, lived with some of them, yada yada yada, and some of them put the music down. And I know one that went to be a barber, hasn't touched a guitar in probably 20 years.
Yeah.
And one that was like a photographer, and that's art too, right? Just different.
Yeah.
But it's like it's kind of sad when that happens in my mind. And I don't know what happened. Maybe they're just like, this, I'm done with this. Like, it didn't happen for me. I don't want to see it. But like, it's like you have this gift. And I really do think it's a gift. And I think, like I said before, people are put on this earth to do certain things. And we talked about, music and healing and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's so important. And I just hate seeing people like throw it away. It's like
Me too.
people, if they're athletes and they start, they fall down the wrong road and they start doing drugs and shit like that. It's like, oh my God, like you have this God-given natural ability that you worked hard and did all this stuff with, and then you fucking you threw it away.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than wasted talent.
Yeah.
It blows my mind how many people fold for whatever reason, whether it's abuse or substance abuse, whatever it is.
I gotta be a real adult and I gotta do this. I believe that there is a way to do both, and there is, like, the money will always come if you I think there is probably some people that might not be that great and they've been doing it forever, and that happens too. But people that are typically have been doing it a long time and are musical and are making good art, there's pockets for money to be made, even if it's not in the way that you originally thought.
Yeah, do a cover band and play with your buddies on the weekend at a local bar or something.
And also like sync, like getting placements with songs in movies, commercials, things like that. We've had some success as well in that space, and you just never freaking know where something
and you're in sales. I came up in sales. Like, it's with that sort of stuff, it's a numbers game, right?
Mhm.
And that's even how TikTok is and all this stuff. It's like, one of them, we make good shit, one of them is going to work, right? And one of them will catch.
Well, I preach, I think I say it once every 2 or 3 episodes, like it only takes one.
Yep.
It only takes one person to hear your song, or one person that finds you and books you at a show that takes you to a new level. Or I'm hoping that one person listens to one of these episodes and is like, yo, let's get behind this guy, and and help him, produce it better. Because I'm in my basement right now. Like this is like
Yeah.
not
You're
ideal. It's
killing
ideal.
it,
Dude, you're killing it. Your setup's great. You ask great questions. And also, I'm such a firm believer. If you think that way and you're in that loop and that's what you're bringing in, that's what you will call in and the timing it's supposed to come in,
It's a passion. It's a passion project. I love doing it. Meeting people like you is such a great thing for me. And my son thinks I'm working, so it's like he thinks like I go to work all day and then I work at night. So it's like instilling in him that like you gotta hustle, and I love it, and just amazing. But
But
we're
you're
here to talk about
doing it, right? Like you're in your basement, but you don't look like you're in your basement. It looks freaking amazing. And
Also,
that's what it takes.
Also, sidebar, my dad taught me that, by the way. Like, I would not be sitting here in front of you right now or having any of the things that I am without my dad's work ethic. Like he's 67.
He was just on tour with us, by the way.
Yeah, we brought
Nice.
so it was our first tour at the Dangerous Summer. My dad was partying with
He was
them.
driving the bus
It's
for
great.
us. We had this massive RV.
It was
that was
epic.
just insane.
But seeing that, him work, he was working 3 jobs at one time, and taking me, I couldn't drive when I first started gigging. I only had my permit. And after he would do all that, he would drive me to my gig.
And then
come
he
pick
would
me
have his
up.
own gig 'cause he's
Yeah.
a drummer. And
So-
to see this dude drive 13 hours, and then as soon as we park, he puts his gloves on, opens the
helping
trailer
load
and
in
helping us
gear.
load in.
He's working out outside.
Yeah. Well, he he finds so much joy in that. His daughter is like doing the thing, right? Like he's probably fueled just by that. I mean, that's
For
amazing.
sure. It was really
Yeah,
beautiful.
and because of that, the man never slept.
He didn't sleep because normally drivers, sleep during
Yeah.
the show or like.
But he's like, you think I'm gonna drive all this way and now miss the show? I'm like, well, you gotta find
That's
somewhere to
sleep.
sleep.
Yeah. You gotta keep driving this. We don't want to crash his bus.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the RV. Yeah. But yeah, he's probably so proud of you. And getting back to the music, like, and I don't want to keep you guys too much longer.
Oh, you're good.
So rose-colored world, it's one word, it seems, everywhere I've seen it,
Yes.
all
is.
lowercase. Is there
Yeah.
some kind of significance to that?
I think when we were making it, we just were like, that looks good. That looks cool.
Yeah, it just looked cool. It felt different. It was just like, oh, that sounds fun. It wasn't anything like really cryptic.
Okay.
This is the only band name that I've ever created that was actually good. And it was organic the way it happened. Because when Ray and I met, we both always were wearing rose-colored
Like the Lennon lenses.
Mm,
Like so much so that my old logo was my hair and the glasses.
Okay.
And when Ray asked me to back her up for a solo gig at a party in Venice, I was like, yeah, sure. We go do the gig. I'm like on a drum pad and she's on keys singing. And after we get off, somebody was like, oh, what's your band called?
Everyone was like, what are you guys called? That was amazing. What are you guys
We're like,
called?
what are we?
The whole night. And I was like, what are you guys called? Like, that is so much
And
more
we're sitting
fun.
in your car.
Yeah.
And you're like, do you want to do this? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, what should we be called? And I'm like, Rose-Colored World.
And I was
which
like,
is-
done.
and
Put
that
it on.
was-
Yeah.
And that was it.
That's it.
That's
Yeah.
it.
And it's stuck.
I like that.
RCW.
Simple. It's very
Yeah.
simple.
I mean, beyond that, like always, and I know Ad and I have similar experience. People are like the saying of like, take off your rose-colored glasses, like, don't dream too big.
Right.
Be realistic, have a backup plan, all of these things that we're programmed with. And Ad and I deeply went against that grain in every way, shape, and form.
I never met another. So ever since I could remember, I was like, this is what I'm doing, right? And there's nothing anyone could do. So much so that I didn't care about anything else. And I didn't learn a lot of things except for music.
Sometimes I tell him things about American history and he's like, that happened here. And I'm like,
Oh my
you are not paying
I'm like,
attention.
I must have been in the band room during that lesson, but I never met somebody that was on that level. Like ever since I've been like ninth grade, I'm trying to put a band together. I'm like, yeah, and then we're gonna do this, and we're gonna record this EP, and then we're gonna go on tour. And they're like, what are you talking about? I don't know about. And to meet somebody that has that drive and passion at the same level, it just felt like this was destined to happen by God, universe, whatever. And it's really freaking cool that we get to do it together and rock out together.
I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason.
Same. Samesies.
And they say too, like if you go into something like with a backup plan or like a parachute, you're gonna fail because you're already in your mind, like
You're already doubting it.
exactly.
You gotta jump and the net will appear. And like what we constantly say every day is surrender, surrender, just surrender it all. Like we never, if you knew our full story, like there were so many moments of being out here in LA together trying to figure out like, and we couldn't have even mapped out how amazing this would turn out. So it's like, fuck.
I mean, February of 2023. I remember Spit Me Out was the last release we had. It had come out a couple months before that. And I was sitting in the backyard one morning, so depressed. Like, I just was like, I want more people to hear what we're creating. And like, I want to, like just these.
Well, it felt like we had exhausted LA, right? We
played everywhere. We did the Troubadour. We did all of like the milestones, and we were ready for like.
And it felt like we were like definitely creating a buzz in LA.
But it was like the end of February 2023, and I was on my back porch, and I was crying, and I was like, like journaling and being a manic artist, and was like, I give up, like not give up on music, but I give up trying to control. Like I surrender all of this stuff because it's good. If this is my passion and this is my purpose, then it's gonna happen. And within 48 hours of me like audibly surrendering, telling him coming out to the backyard and being like, it's gonna be okay. We went viral on Twitter. I don't even have, or X or whatever, I don't even have that. So all of a sudden ads notifications are going crazy. And in like 24, 48 hours, it had Spit Me Out had over 200,000 views. And we start getting
the podcast State of the Scene.
Shout out State of the Scene.
Yeah, they literally, and they know this because we've thanked them a million times, but they posted a clip of the song and wrote, laughing my ass off, this band is going to be huge. And then all of a sudden our managers started getting emails from booking agents, from labels, and from that one tweet.
But that is literally how we met Cassie, our booking agent, who worked with like it all from that one moment of like pure surrender. And also this virality momentum. And then literally our inbox, like Dan's like, we have like 5 huge emails from this one.
And these were like companies that I've definitely like cold emailed over the years,
yeah.
And to see an email come in, and so many other artists will understand what I'm saying. It's like to see an email where it's them, being like, oh, I hope that we're a good fit for you. I was like, what's happening?
Yeah, it's mental.
You mean your plate's not full?
So like,
you mean don't check back in 6 months?
Yeah.
So from, that February 2023 to now it's October 2024, a lot happened in a year and a half. We got signed for booking. We got signed for, a record
and after
deal.
This run, we would have played like
40 shows this year.
shows this year so far.
We got to open for Sum 41 in
that's
January.
how we started the year.
Yeah,
like
that's
crazy bananas.
That was fucking wild.
So
I love that concept too, like just surrender. Like that's such a simple yet like powerful thing.
Surrender and release, like,
whenever it feels like too heavy for me, when you like start to go down that hole and you're like thinking about all this shit and you're trying to figure out how to fix a bunch of shit. Then I just go, oh, you know what? I don't need to carry this.
Fuck it.
Yeah. If I'm like, the how's not up to me, like you said, you believe in destiny, or things are meant to be.
It always works,
right? So it's like, if it always works out for me and things are meant to be, my job is to enjoy as much as I can of the process of it becoming. And so once I stay in that joy, things always line up way better than if I was trying to map them out.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. That's so cool. I'm so pumped for you guys.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Thank
you.
As far as the music goes, like, are there topics that you try and like touch on? How does this stuff kind of come to you? Like,
So it's never like, all right, these are some topics that could be cool, because some people could write like that.
right.
It's more so when we're writing and riffing on melodies, there's typically like either a emotion that is coming out of the song that feels like where it should be taking us, or like one line while we're just saying nothing, gibberish, a word or something will come out. And so we cross over, but not mainly, but I'm
Yeah.
more melody and Ray's more lyric. So when I'm like riffing on a melody, I may say, you know, a certain, like for All We Had, I think I said if all we had was lost. And that's all that came out, right? When I was just playing. Then she'll
And
be
then
like,
all of a sudden I was like, I know exactly what the verse should
Yeah.
be. It's, you know, like, and then we just ping pong until we've reached the finish line, you know, and I, you know, being lyric lady to the melody man, a lot of things that do come out is just, we all suffer from the human condition, grief, loss, joy, all of these things that make us very much similar, more similar than we like to give ourselves credit for.
Mhm.
And I think when we write about those things and we realize that we all think about how much time, like in All We Had, how much time we have left on the planet, like, and it's the sentiment of like, if all we have is this moment, would that be enough for us to just be happy, right? So it's like these kind of concepts that trickle through conversations, maybe with close friends, or think conversations we have with ourselves, that I try to kind of tap in, but also while being able to rock the hell out with your homies and rock in the car, because, and that's what Ad will write, like the most sticky, catchy, like you were humming something even before this. And I was like, I was humming it right before we even got on. I'm like, please stop singing it. It's stuck in my head. So yeah, that's kind of our,
here to bring the stickiness.
it's our dynamic.
That's awesome. There's a question I was asking a lot of people, like, it kind of relates, I guess. Like, if you knew the world was going to end, like in a day or 2 days or whatever, like asteroid coming to Earth, like there's no Superman coming to save us. There's no, Bruce Willis, and no one's going to stop it. Like, we're all dead.
Right.
Like, what do you do with that time you have left?
I think I take a lot of mushrooms
Yes.
and just hang out with the people I love.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say some type of hallucinogen on the beach.
Yeah.
Forest.
Yeah,
Definitely not wearing clothes in public.
I think I would be wearing clothes. But
Just go streaking through the neighborhood.
Yeah.
but I definitely would want to be by the ocean with the people that I love, and
Right.
listening to my favorites, watching the sunset for the last time, whatever it is.
That's a wild question.
You're right. I just like,
Yeah, but
for me, it came from a different place. Like, I have 2 kids. Like, I'm not a survivalist by any means. Like, if they're dependent on me to save them, like,
I am.
like if they're dependent on me to save them, like, I'm the wrong guy.
You gotta find a friend.
we need to go to someone else's house. Like,
We need a Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Is what we need.
see, exactly. Yes.
That guy's gotta have a whole plan, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's got enough meat probably in a freezer somewhere in his house or his podcast studio.
Multiple.
Yeah, to last
Multiple
50
freezers.
years.
Yeah. Yeah. What a guy. Actually, I actually sent him some merch when I used to work at a screen printing company for his comedy club in an attempt to get him to print with that company, and nothing ever happened with it.
He didn't see it, that's why.
Yeah, he didn't
Yeah.
see it. It
Well,
just got
so I was like,
What about that hat? You got Rogan.
well, yeah. So yeah, oh yes. So I'm wearing this hat, right? This is a one of one. It's actually, it's like not 3D, but it's like a puff embroidery. So it's like raised.
Yeah.
So it's pretty neat. But I sent him a bunch of things, and I'm like, there's 3 things that happen. Worst case scenario, nothing happens. I said, like, the best case scenario, he calls us and says, let's do something. I said, middle of the road would be like if he just wore one of the shirts I sent him on his podcast. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But
Joe
Nothing
Rogan, if you're seeing this, he's not selling these hats. He's a fan.
Yes,
Just
this is
wants to
one of
wear
one.
it.
This is
It's
one
one
of
of
one.
one.
I would never do
It
that.
looks great though. The color is great.
It's cool, right? Yeah, I thought it
What
was.
color is that? Is
It's
that
like
a
a
beige?
It's like a beige with black. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. But I have a couple more things that I wanted to mention before I let you go. I don't want to keep you all
Yes.
night. Um, the cover of the Ashley Simpson song,
Yes.
very good, very well
Thank
done.
you. Thank you.
What kind of inspired that?
Okay, so this is actually a funny a funny origin story here. So our friend Austin gifted us a bidet, like a brand new bidet.
Yes.
But he like surprise, like it just showed up on our porch and we were like, what the heck? And so our friend Austin's over all the time. And so I think he selfishly wanted it for him when he's here. Anyway, we realized we need to get screws.
Well, first I was like, she's like, can we do this tomorrow? I'm like, it's gonna take 2 minutes for me to install this thing.
2 minutes.
No.
So I realized that the screws that they came with was not long enough to go like all the way through. So I was like, hey, so about this 2 minutes, we got to go to Home Depot. And
So now I'm like, here we go, my whole night, right?
Yeah.
So we're in Home Depot, we leave, we get the screws, we're almost back to the crib, and somehow either on a playlist or on the radio, Pieces of Me comes on by Ashley Simpson. And casually we were like, we would rip a cover of this and install the bidet and then like manically made the whole cover like in our
but
little
we did
spaceship.
like 30 seconds.
No, we did almost all of it. Because
First?
yeah, because we knew we were like this as we were making it, we were like, this is gonna be sick.
Oh wow.
We were like, this is gonna do like we were excited about it. We probably got to almost the bridge.
Yeah.
And then
We posted it and it just like started going on TikTok, and the song wasn't out. And this is before the label, so we were with another distributor, and we're like, hey, how fast can you get the song up? You know, we're trying to like figure that out. And Tom texted me, and he's like, hey, dude, if you just send it to me, like I'll mix it for you. Like, sounds dope. So he then took the cover, we released it, and then we performed it at like an emo night.
yeah, Mason Musso from Metro Station. We're homies with him, and he was like, do you
Cool.
guys want to come to emo night and perform it? And I was like, sounds great. And there's a lot of these like little freak moments that were happening.
That was like the first, like we had, because we did a cover of Creep a while ago, and that like did well on Instagram, to where we were walking around Hollywood and people would be like, I think I saw you singing Radiohead on a mountain. And I'm
I was
like, yeah, that was
yeah.
us. But the Ashley Simpson thing was good because it also was like hitting a demographic that would also enjoy our music.
Right.
Because we're seeing our demographic be like that, what they call the elder emos,
Mhm.
and then the young generation that's loving the music too. So it's really cool. But the Ashley Simpson, we never played it live besides that emo night.
Maybe we'll bring it back for something.
Yeah,
We'll see.
maybe.
We'll see.
But it was fun.
It was a fun little thing.
And it
that
was
took
a
off.
gateway, you know, to our music. So
Such a strategic move, right? To a degree, just because it does like it helps introduce people to your music who are familiar with, you know, classic songs. Not that that's a classic song, but I mean it was very popular when it came out.
yeah, I think it worked because like one, nobody covered it. It's one of those songs that so many people remember but forgot about. And it's just that beginning thing. It just, as soon as anybody hears on a Monday, people are like,
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah,
this.
exactly.
I mean, I
Yeah.
think even aside from that specific song, which like, yes, it's ingrained in all of our memories somewhere. I think I've always been a huge fan of just covers in general. I think it taught me a lot about songwriting, was like I said, coming up and playing at a bunch of bars and cafes and tailgates and wherever I could play when I was younger, learning the formulas, learning what makes sense. And then
Yeah, and you learn different progressions.
yeah, and then also like even at our shows, we love throwing in one in a set, especially when we're opening or direct support, because a lot of these people, they don't maybe know our music yet, or they're just, you know, just becoming fans. And so giving them something to latch onto and feel connected with, you know, can open them up to wanting to actually hear the originals and you know, become a fan of our stuff.
Yeah. That's awesome. I had to touch on this. It was kind of in the bio. Uh, you exude coolness. That's accurate. You do exude coolness. You love
Do
chatting
I?
about, yes. The fact that you stayed and waited for me after I was like 10 to 15 minutes late, that's cool. But love chatting about fashion, their beloved dog, and musical influences. I feel like I had to talk about the dog.
Oh,
Mark.
dog. Where's Mark?
Mark's was bad.
Oh, so Mark is a dog that showed up on my porch 6 years ago. And he was a street dog. I grew up with big dogs. I always was like, I'm never gonna have a small dog. This little dog showed up and he was in bad shape. I kept him. I met Ray, I think like
3 weeks.
3 weeks later. And yeah, now we've had Mark. Mark comes on tour. I don't know if he's gonna come on the next one. He didn't really like it, but he doesn't want to be away from us, but he
Right.
doesn't want to be,
Near us,
you know,
really.
because
Like a cat. Like a
yeah,
cat.
exactly. But in the bus, you know, he's not getting to walk a lot.
Right.
It's kind of sad.
So here's the thing. Yeah, Mark's more like a cat. He's a little dog, big personality.
Selfishly, it was awesome to like get off stage and go to the bus.
What a
open the door,
serotonin
and
moment.
he's just like,
Yeah.
I'm like, Mark.
Mark's the homie though. He gets a little feisty. Mark's name is Mark because we were watching The Disaster Artist with James Franco and Seth Rogen, and there's a line in it that's like, "Oh, hi, Mark." And when Mark was showing up on Addison's porch, him and his roommate just kept going, "Oh, hi,
Yeah, just
Mark.
kept going, oh,
Oh, hi,
Mark.
Mark." And then he came
Wait, how do you know that we have a dog?
some notes, I think.
Yeah, I got some information from your PR team.
Top
Wow.
secret.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try.
Mark is awesome.
Maybe you should take that out of there. Tori, take that out of there.
No,
Don't.
no, I like that you knew that.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I
Addison's
mean,
just like, this is new.
We have to
So-
scratch him when we're singing high because he sings with us. So when we're like recording, Ray has to like scratch.
I'm
this.
literally helping record and like running as fast as possible to where Mark is so he doesn't sing with us.
I had to bring it up because I'm trying to find love in my heart for the puppy that we got
Oh.
5 months ago, I guess it was now. Yeah, we have a puppy. She is 8 months old now.
Oh, that's a baby.
Yeah, it was I don't even know how it happened. I really don't. My wife was like, "Can we get a second cat?" Because my other cat passed away like a year prior. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm cool with that. Like they're low maintenance, like whatever." And so I was like
Dog is a whole other thing.
I was on board with a cat. And then like a week later, I get a text with this dog, a picture of this dog like, she wanted to rescue or whatever. And I just wrote back, I'm like, no. And then next thing I know, we're going to see it, and next thing I know, it's home with us. The wildest thing was like like maybe a week prior to that, we were coming home from a friend's house, talking about who has a dog, talking about how we're not really dog people. Like, I mean, I grew up with a dog. I had 2 dogs when I was growing up, but I just like I didn't take care of, like, it wasn't like my dog. Like,
Right.
there's a lot of responsibility, like, and we're constantly on the move. Like, like I said, my kids in baseball, and we take small weekend trips, and it just changes the whole dynamic. But like we're talking about like the whole like this is gonna sound terrible. I don't mean it to sound terrible, but like dogs to me are dumb and needy. Dumb in that like they'll eat anything. Like,
So that's an anomaly with Mark. Like if I had a bunch of food on the floor, like in my hallway or
If
whatever,
I'm like, no. And we
one
laugh,
time
he
he would not eat it. He won't even eat all of his own food when it's out. He like
So
he's like a cat.
we
Like
think he was raised by cats. I'm not kidding. On the
he was
well,
a street
good for you.
dog.
Good for you.
Because, but I will say, like, us trying when we travel and stuff, I made him a service dog, and technically we could bring him anywhere,
Mhm.
but I thought the RV, he's like, why is my house moving? Right. So he'll get used to it.
Oh my God, I said that every day. Our drummer was like, hey, Ray, is his house moving? Like, he just started making fun of me. I'm like, but imagine that, you're 13 pounds and all of a sudden your
And you get
world.
used to it not moving. You're like, oh, look at this couch. Okay. And then we just start moving. But I don't know what we're going to do, honestly.
We'll figure it out. We always do, but
That's like the motto. We'll figure it out.
always.
Yeah.
But Mark did show up when he was 3. I do hear different things when it's like an actual
Wait, what kind of puppy did you get?
So we rescued it. It's like it's a mix, like a lab / border collie, maybe something else. They don't really know.
The big guy.
She's not big. I think she was actually the runt of the litter. So she's probably now. They say she'll probably get between like 40 and 50 pounds, like max.
Okay.
So she's a good, and she's a good dog. But like my wife
It's a
did
lot.
no.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I mean the whole potty training was like, I'm like, we're gonna get divorced. Like this is like, I'm like, I didn't want this dog. The dog's here. Like this is terrible. But it may have brought us closer together. And obviously, I mean, there was a point.
How is it now?
She's great. I mean, she still has. We got to give her some lessons and things like that. But the potty training that's all taken care of. She's good with
Good.
that now. And but yeah, but we were just talking about how we're not dog people, and then we have a dog, and it's like, how did this happen?
And
But
then
like,
not trying to get rid of it at this point with your kids.
oh, I mean, like, well, it was like we had it for like a week or so, and I'm like, this has to go back. Like I said it like
You can't go on.
casually, like not even to my kids. Um, but I can never do that to them. It was like,
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean,
Figure it out.
she's a great addition to the family. Kids,
What's her name?
Well, so it's funny. We have a cat. The cat's name is Mooch.
Mooch.
Mooch, like
Mooch.
you're a mooch,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
So both my kids' names start with L's. So we're like, let's be cute and do the M's with the pets. So trying to find a name for an animal like a dog, starts with the M was kind of difficult. That wasn't like sissy foo type stuff.
Right.
And I said Mitzi. How about Mitzi? So we named it Mitzi. My wife liked
Mitzi,
it.
very,
I liked
very
it.
Jewish.
But it turns out that I don't know if it's
Yeah,
subconsciously.
Mitzi, Jewish.
Is it? Oh yeah, probably. But
Yeah.
maybe
Pauly Shore's
subconsciously.
mom's name was Mitzi, who owned the Comedy Store.
Oh.
Yes. So Joe Rogan has a bar in the comedy club called Mitzi's.
Oh,
So
perfect.
I don't
That's awesome.
know. I don't know if that's subconsciously stuck into my head because it wasn't like on purpose.
Right.
But yeah,
For sure.
Wait, so where do you live?
I live well for location purposes, Scranton,
the Bronx.
Pennsylvania.
Okay, sick.
That I would figure you probably recognize that name, the office and things like that.
Yeah, I'm from Long Island originally.
Okay, yeah. So like I'm like 20 minutes outside Scranton.
Okay,
Cool.
right on.
So, but yeah,
Well, send love to Mitzi.
Mitzi's all right. She can stay.
She can stay. You got no choice now.
Yeah, I gotta figure it out. Last question to let you guys go. Music we talked about it being powerful and medicine, all that kind of stuff, but like it's gonna live, far longer than we will, right? And I think that's really cool how that can happen. So talk about legacy. Like what kind of legacy do you guys hope to leave, on the world?
I would love for our legacy, and you could answer your own thing too, but I would love for our legacy to be a band that built a space for people from all walks of life to feel and be exactly who they are without thinking too much about what they look like and who they think they have to be, and can just have a space to rock the fuck out and feel completely free in the self-expression of who they are. And I feel like if we help leave that mark here as best as we can, and by showing up and us doing that and being vulnerable in the art and vulnerable in how we write and how we dress, and how we want to move through the world, that hopefully will inspire others to do the same and not think that they have to be somebody that they're not.
I couldn't agree more with you. And I'll just add in, there were so many bands growing up and to this day that made me, when I'm driving alone, whether going through a heartbreak or my parents, pissing me off, or a friend, that just made me feel like I'm not the only one going through this shit, and be like, this was written about me. I hope to do that for anyone, even one person, as a legacy. I think that would be great.
Very nice. Very cool.
Hell yeah.
Well, thank you for your time. What's in store? It's end of September when this comes out. It'll be like middle of October ish.
So when
What's
this comes
left?
out, we will be on tour probably right now.
We leave November 8th. So,
Oh,
but
what am I?
come see us on tour. We're gonna be playing with Not My Weekend, and we also will be releasing a new single called Broken Glass on October 22nd. We're really excited about that next tune. So
Oh yeah.
What's it gonna take to get you guys on the East Coast?
Well, we hit the East Coast with Dangerous Summer. This fall tour, we're not going by you, but heading into the new year, I would say we will be everywhere, and we will see
Okay.
you on the East Coast.
yes, 2025.
I'm gonna have to like save your page so I get all your notifications.
Hell
Yeah.
yes.
So
Dude, this has been amazing. You're awesome. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us.
Yeah, for sure,
yeah.
man.
Thank you guys. Rose-Colored World. Best of luck with everything. I'm excited for
Thank
the
you.
record to
too.
come out, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, and you've been waiting for me to be late. So thank you.
Dude, it's all
You're
good.
good.
Thank you for having
Thank you.
us.
Awesome. Thank you guys.